A very good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the Family Hour here at Church of Uganda Family TV. And of course, my beautiful name, as usual, is Claire Buenje, the world's favorite host. How is your today and how is that evening? The month is running real quick. Yeah, just a few days to the month of November. I know the most exciting in the upcoming month is grasshoppers, the senene. Some people call it Musenene month. Okay, please don't forget to share the senenes. Well, this is the family hour here at Church of Uganda Family TV. And as usual, we have a very, very great topic, and the guests are already in the studio. A very, very exciting couple. And our topic this evening, dear viewers, is effective communication techniques for parents and children. Effective communication techniques for parents and children. Remember, the family hour comes to you every Monday to Friday under different themes. And briefly, I will let us know what happens on what day. Yes, on Monday, the family hour comes to you under the theme of education and career, and on Tuesday, under the theme of the family health, and on Wednesday, family finance and wealth, on Thursday, leadership and governance, and today, which is a Friday, we are here and at the theme of parenting. And don't forget that this family hour is in partnership with Life Ministry Uganda. You can always check them out on the website and also different social media platforms. They will definitely be happy to hear from you. Why don't you allow me, dear ladies and gentlemen, to invite our guests here on board to take us through what they have cooked for such a very long time. Our guests here is an amazing couple, and none other than Mr. Francis and Priscilla Ejuku. That name. They come to us all the way from Sorority, Itesot, Biaibo. Hope that is the way they greet. Dear ladies and gentlemen, join me. Welcome this great couple on board. You are most welcome.
Thank you.
Biaibo, that's all right.
Biaibo Jo.
Jokuna. Hi, Priscilla. How are you? Happy to have you on the show. You look great in red, eh? Wow, wow. Hello, Francis.
Yes.
Happy to have you on the show.
Thank you so
All the
much
way
for
from
hosting us.
Sorority.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. We're having Itesots out there. You are well represented by this amazing couple. Please say hello to the viewers and then we'll start the show.
Okay.
Ladies first. She was okay, please.
Good evening, viewers. You're most welcome to this show.
Wow, happy to have you on the show, Priscilla. Francis?
Good evening, viewers. We're happy to have you on this show. Thank you very much.
All right. Yes, and dear viewers, please don't run to the overnight before this show gets done. This is a very exciting topic. And for those that have just joined in, our topic this evening is effective communication techniques for parents and children. And of course, I would want to bring this great couple here on board because that's why they're here. Yes, and of course, the Ejukus. Often we hear people say communication is not communication until it's effective. So, of course, for starters, we would want to know what is this effective communication? What does it feel like? What is it at all? Thank you. Would want to go first? Is it Priscilla or Francis?
Okay. In simple terms, I'll say communication. It is an art of how I bring a message to you, whether you'll be able to understand what I have told you, and I also, and whether I will think you have also understood what I've communicated to you. The way I bring a message to you, if it is clear enough for you to understand so that we move on well. Yes.
So that is communication.
That is communication.
And then what is effective communication?
Effective communication Maybe I'll give an example.
Okay.
I may communicate to a child, and maybe I have used complicated language and you will not understand me. So sometimes for children, you have to bring yourself down as if you're a child, because that's the language they understand. So in that way, they will be able to understand you,
Okay.
because according to them, that's what they know. So you come down to their level.
All right. So, in other words, when we talk about effective communication, here we mean the receiver must understand what the communicator was putting across.
Exactly.
That is effective communication.
Yes.
Wow, that's really good. And of course, we would want to know what are the qualities now for viewers that would want to know what are the qualities of effective communication.
The qualities, maybe I can say you should be brief about what you're communicating. You know, sometimes when you're communicating with a child and you're talking like you're lecturing, they may not be able to understand you. But if I tell a child, you know, you made a mistake here and this was not nice, and how can we do it better, I think it is easy for them to understand, because it's brief. Yes.
Okay. Wow. So that's really interesting. Francis, you have something to add
Yes.
on the qualities?
Maybe another quality is we need to learn to listen. And in learning to listen, we've got to understand that listening is a skill that has got to be learned and practiced. Okay? So once we can listen to these children, and they also understand that we are listening to them, then they will be able to open up more and be able to communicate better with us. However, it is not just about learning to listen. There are other things which come with it, and some of those things include things like maintaining eye contact with the child when you're talking to them, because many times we are caught with phones and they have things they are telling us, and gadgets, and sometimes the movie or even news. You know, we need to be able to maintain eye contact, avoid any kind of distraction. If it is phone or whatever, but when I'm talking to my son or daughter, I make sure, you know, there is no distraction at that point. Then sometimes also it's important to listen with a closed mouth. Sometimes even before the child is saying something, maybe because they are angry and they are like stammering, you're trying to also help them say what they're trying to say. It may not really be the right way to do it. So we need to listen with a closed mouth and just maybe, you know, nod as a way of them knowing that they are being heard, and that is very important. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very, very much. And as you're sharing, I would want you to bring out the point of clarity. Would you please share with the viewer out there that, you know, if effective communication actually has a quality of clarity?
I think clarity, you still mean like to be able to be understood.
Exactly. Exactly. Because sometimes, as parents, or now that we are talking about parents, you say something, and then when children don't respond, you actually feel like, okay, these people are big headed here. They don't really, you know. But it depends on how you bring it out. It has to be so clear to the kids, to the children. And I like what you talked about, the children, that you have to come down to their levels. Often I used to ask myself, but why is it that, you know, every time you're talking to the children, you're singing? Oh, can you give me this? Can you give me that? Oh, brush your teeth, blah, 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 all the time. But in this, you learn that you are actually trying to communicate to the children in ways they will understand, and that is through singing and everything. Wow. Wow, thank you very much, Francis and Priscilla. So how can parents really out there, because I know they are watching and they are wondering how to achieve effective communication between them and their children?
One way of achieving effective communication is by being friends to our children. Because you know, when you're communicating with your friend, normally it's easy. You give them an ear, you listen to them, you're interested in what they are talking about, and they are also interested in what you're talking about. So we need to befriend our children at that level. I'll give you an example. Our firstborn is at the university. So at first, I thought I was going to use the technique I was using when she was younger, in secondary school, and then because I was always someone who just gives instructions and that's it. Yeah. So even when she was at campus, I told her, Elizabeth, every Friday you must come home. You'll be home over the weekend and return back to campus on Monday. But I did not explain to her why.
I know.
So she started giving excuses, I can't come, we have a lecture, what? Until I had to try and befriend her and explain to her why I need her to come over the weekend. I told her, when you come over the weekend, we go to church together, we pray together, we bond.
Exactly.
And so now, because we became friends, she even comes when I'm not expecting her. Even if it's a Thursday,
Wow.
when her lectures are done, she'll just come home.
Oh, that's really good.
So I think that kind of friendship is very important for you to be able to communicate to your children.
Wow, and I really love that example that you just gave us of your daughter. I think a few days ago I was listening to one preacher, and then there is something she mentioned which really touched my heart. She said that these children, they are good, very good observers, but they are bad interpreters. So, sometimes as parents we say this and then we do the opposite. You get it. You do the opposite, and then the children will actually interpret whatever mommy and daddy are saying. Really? you get it. So I think as parents we really have to walk the talk. What we say is what we do. So I thank you, Priscilla. Just as adding on what you're saying.
Maybe.
Yes, Francis.
Maybe just to say something else. Also, it's important to keep the conversations brief, especially with the younger age, which is basically below 10. It is better to keep it as brief as possible, the conversations. That makes it more effective. And the best way that can be done is every at least 30 seconds, if you're talking to them about something and you think it's serious, after 30 seconds, you need to ask questions based on what you've just been talking about. And they'll maybe report what you've just said. Then you know that you're all in sync, and then you can continue to something else like that.
Not a marathon,
lecturing. And of course, when you see now that the child is getting distracted, then it's a sign that actually they are tired, you let it go.
Wow, yeah, that's serious. And now I will actually go back to you, Priscilla, for clarity on your point again. How can parents build friendships with their children?
Number one, of course, you need to have time with your children.
Exactly.
When you're with your child, for example, with my daughter, you try to talk about, you ask about her friends, you show her that you're interested about, you have interest in her friend. So now when she's communicating, she knows you want to know about gift, you want to know about those people.
Yes.
So you find like you're part of her life.
Oh,
yes.
That's very nice.
You also keep the communication on the phone, even if there's nothing serious, maybe just a hi message. And personally, I'm not someone who is good at
texting all the
time. Words, calling, and I think she's like me. But once in a while now, she'll always just send a message, hi mommy. But those days she'll take like 3 days, and you're like, is this girl there? So that's how we became friends.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Sometimes when she has her friends have birthdays, and I see on her status, I also send happy birthday
messages to them.
Friend,
yeah.
And then she says I'll communicate. Yeah. So that's how we have been able to build a relationship.
Wow, wow, that's actually very, very nice and very important. But it, it gives me many questions after the other. Uh, how do you strike a balance, between the friendship and then also, letting her, giving her her space, Sometimes you hear children saying, "But mommy is always on my case, into my business." How do you strike that balance?
I think in striking that balance is the one who has helped me.
Mm.
Because sometimes I set very hard rules and after it's like, no, my dear, this is not how you're going to, this is an adult. You have to change the way you're communicating and how you're bossing around her. So he's the one who is good at.
That's
He
right.
has
Maybe I can
helped
say
me.
something.
Yes, Francis,
Yeah.
you can help us here.
The best way you can do that is when you show the child that you respect them, they will also respect you.
Exactly.
Yes. And I've done that and I've seen it work. Of course, in the beginning, it was a bit hard, but it works. When you show them that you respect them and you respect them, for example, if she says she's coming home a little late, you tell her, it's dangerous to come home late. But if you say you're with friends and yes, you come home maybe at 11 o'clock, it's okay, but please let it be 11. She will try to make sure she doesn't break your heart and she will actually be there at that right time. Just because you gave her the respect of, you respected her wanting to be out 11, she will also respect you by coming at the time you said she should come in.
Wow.
Yes.
That's nice, but hard for an African mother out there. Like Priscilla, you had to be helped in this. I can actually understand every mother out there. Oh my God, it's not easy, but it takes the grace. Wow. Any more on our questions? Yes.
Maybe another thing I would like to talk about is asking the right questions. Sometimes when we're with the children, the way we ask our questions is in the wrong way. For example, many of us pick children from school and we ask questions like, did you have lunch? Yes. Was school good? Yes. We should be able to ask open-ended questions using words like what, where, who, In that way, if you ask how was class today, the child will not say good. The child has got to explain more than just good. Yes.
Wow. That's a very good one, actually.
Yes. So we need to ask the open-ended questions and get more out of them in terms of communication with them. Yes.
And actually, that's very, very common because often I ask, "Was school okay?" Yes. And after I keep asking myself, but how come they're not even explaining to me? I think the problem is how I ask. So today we are so grateful to have you here. You have helped me in that. So anyways, a viewer out there would want to know, why is communication important in parenting? Who would want to go first?
I think I would like to go first.
Okay.
Communication is important in parenting because without it, basically, I think the home will be in chaos. But when we communicate effectively, first of all, by having the time whereby we are available for the child. I have only one son, and he's also the last born, and he's the one who asks the most questions. There is a time, I think it was last term, he would come and ask me all kinds of silly questions. Sorry to use the word. And I reached a point where I was getting a bit nauseated and I was not really happy with the questions. Where I would think he knows this, but maybe he's trying to test me. That's what I thought. But I realized later on that he's actually trying to communicate to me. And he's trying to see whether he can be free to communicate anything with me. So now, even if he asks something when it's so annoying, I will smile and we shall talk about it.
Wow.
And
the
I'll also
Spirit
ask
of the Lord is in
questions.
you. Oh my God.
And so now we're actually good to go.
Wow.
So communication is really important because, and also maybe without communication, like I mentioned, the home would be chaos. But also, when a child learns to communicate, they will use that. That communication is going to help them for the rest of their life. So if you're lucky and you've trained your child how to communicate well, it's going to help them for the rest of their life. From when they're children to adulthood, even when they start working, they will know how to communicate with their peers, with workmates, and I think it's a nice thing.
Wow, wow. Thank you very much, Francis. And I think we will first go off for a break, but when we return, we would want to know how easy is that for you, especially for men, to just smile and they just let you go. Oh my God, we need to know how you do it. And dear viewer, this show takes a quick break. It returns in a bit. Please don't go anywhere. Dear viewer, welcome back from that short break, and I'm happy, very, very happy to know that you are still with us here at Church of Uganda Family TV, and this is the Family Hour. My beautiful name, as Claire, as usual, is Claire Bwenje, the world's favorite host. Today in the studio, I have a great couple, Francis and Priscilla, all the way from Soroti. They are Idisotse here on board. And by the way, Francis and Priscilla are born again Christians who have been married for 19 years. And together they have been blessed with 3 daughters and 1 son. The daughters are Elizabeth, Evelyn, Esther, and the son is Joseph. They fellowship at All Saints Cathedral, Kampala, and are active members of the marriage ministry. They are the current cheerleaders of the Gayaza Road Marriage Fellowship and are passionate about guiding marriages and seeing to it that every home is a godly home. And before we went for a break, Francis and Priscilla were sharing with us the importances or why it is really necessary for us to communicate effectively with our children. And I'll give it up to Francis to take it up from that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Claire. How to communicate effectively with children? It helps to boost the self-esteem of the child. Once the child knows that you're communicating very well with him or her, their self-esteem will always be up. No one will be able to put them down by maybe calling them names. He may not be the brightest in the class, but because you call him the champion, because whenever he has an issue, he comes to you and you sort him out. He knows that he's sorted, and in that process it boosts his self-esteem, and because of that he'll always be at his best. And I think that is very important for our children.
I mean, who doesn't want to have a child that has a high self-esteem?
Wow. Sure. Then when there is good communication between parents and children, it helps in so many things in the home. Basically, because of the good communication, children in families where there is good communication in a family, there will always be, the children are good listeners, and you'll always find very few fights even between the house helps and the children, because there is good communication. So there are no fights, there are no arguments, because they know that this has been communicated, and that helps to bring cooperation and in a home, and harmony in a home, and also because they see that you and your wife are communicating well, they also try to emulate that and make sure that they are good communicators. And we think that is very important, because like Claire said earlier, children learn most of these things from us, and when they see that we are communicating very well, they'll also try to be good communicators. And once we are not very good communicators, they hear us telling lies, they'll also pick up the same, which is very wrong. Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much. With me for children, Bambe, I just surrendered. Mankedu, mankesi. You'd rather mankesi, mankedu. You'd rather be there and you're Because they will just pick everything and you see them doing, really. So really, with children, you have to be extremely careful and very intentional. Priscilla, you have something, or we just continue?
I can add on.
Okay.
The effective communication, it creates healthy relationships. Of course, and we did talk about actually verbal communication and communication, which is non-verbal.
Non-verbal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, in that way, let me say he's not feeling happy, but I can read that he's not happy. So I can still know that maybe something is wrong. So if I'm able to communicate to him and maybe find out what is the problem, then I could be able to give him help. Or if he's not feeling happy about something, he will share with me what is putting him down. Same as with children and parents. If these children are able to come to you and talk to you about what is not right in their life, then you'll be able to help them. So this will help our children not to get lost or talking to other people who may give them wrong information.
And actually, that's very true.
Yeah.
Because if us as parents don't come out to really parent our children or teach them certain things or communicate well with them, the world is there to do that. The world is there to do that. And I think as parents, this is a call to us all to up our game, especially in this area. The world is there to teach them each and everything. If we can't teach them how to communicate well, the world will teach them. And then a few minutes you begin asking yourself, really, I'm not like this. Where is this child getting all this from? So thank you for bringing that up. Yes. And what are the barriers to effective communication between parents and the children?
I think the barriers are quite many.
Especially in this
Yeah,
era.
especially in this age and era. Well, the first one I will start with probably is basically nagging and lecturing. And
Wow.
many
Priscilla, are you
times,
there?
of course, nagging is repeating the same thing over and over and over, and it really, for the child, it irritates them, and that is not very okay. Yes, they might have done something wrong, but because you're bringing it up over and over again, it's not the right way of communication. It would be better to sit this child down and tell them what they've done wrong. For example, among my children, the rest seem to be okay, but for my son, we've really had our own, maybe because he's a man like me, we've had our own issues. So many times when there's something wrong, I sit him down and tell him, next time you do this, I'm going to give you 40 bokos. What have I said? And he repeats what I say, that next time I do this, you're going to give me 40 bokos. And indeed, when he does it again, I will give him the chibokos. Before. So in the process, at least he makes him understand. It has made him understand that daddy is serious, and when he says something, he'll follow up on it. And so even him, he needs to be serious. Because if he says, Daddy, I'm sorry, and I've forgiven him, and I say, yes, I've forgiven you, but don't do it again, and he does it again, then that's not being serious. Yeah.
Wow. Nagging.
Another one is many times children sometimes come to us when we are from our busy schedules at work, and they are saying things, and we are not understanding what they are saying. So we interrupt them when they are talking to us. It is not a nice thing to do and should be avoided. It is one of the barriers to actually effective communication. When a child comes to you, of course, sometimes when they are very angry, even maybe crying, they can even be stammering. Just saying a simple thing can take 10 minutes. Just listen to them. It helps to calm them down. It helps them to know that they can always come to you, and helps them to know that you understand them and love them, and that is very important.
Wow. Thank you, Francis. Of late, a friend told me, that she was actually with a daughter, and then the daughter was trying to explain something, and before she could finish, the mom had already provided solution, and then the girl was like, "Mommy, will you ever listen?" I mean, what you're talking about is so true here. We have to have a good listening here. Just go slow with them.
Yes.
It might take longer than you expect, but it's okay. Go slow with them. Thank you, Francis.
Yes.
Priscilla, you have something to add on that?
Maybe I can say criticism. If the children know that you're always criticizing them, they'll fear to communicate to you, because someone already knows you're just going to blame them. You're going to begin telling them even the other time it happened. So when you criticize someone, when you criticize the children, they'll stop. They don't find it easy to come to you. Yeah, and so it will become a barrier to your communication with the children.
Yeah, do not criticize the children. Actually, that's very dangerous. It can actually damage them. Wow, because of time, I think we have to go a little bit faster now. What are the solutions to lack of communication in a relationship? It could be between father and mother, or it could be between the parents and their children, or it could be between siblings, actually, among siblings. So what is the solution to this?
One solution, some of the solutions to those barriers, according to me, can be basically everything needs time. And once you don't give it time, it will just go, it will not work out. So we need to give time to communicate to our children. First of all, time to be there in their lives, time to be there for our spouses, and even the children, time to be together. It's all about time. So once we provide time, everything else falls in place. And I think we can use that as one of the best things to be able to communicate effectively.
Time.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you, Francis. Priscilla?
I think I want to compliment on what he has just talked about time. There's a time we decided that we shall be having family meetings out with our children. And so he made a schedule of that time he made some questions, and then we were asking the kids one by one. Maybe I don't remember the question that he had really, but I think he remembers. So, but the way kids brought out, expressed themselves, it was unique. And I think the reason it worked so well is that we did it out of home. So like they know that we have to go out maybe in some nice restaurant, then everyone had a notebook, and they first answered their questions, and then we exchanged the notes, and it was very good.
That was creative. Creative parents. In parenting, you also have to be so creative.
Yeah, and of course, the time thing is always a sacrifice, because time is not there. You must sacrifice that I'm going to be with my children. And at this point, I should thank him, because he's always there for the children.
Oh, that's so great. Wow, goodness. Well done, Francis. Keep it up. What are the tips to the fathers there?
Not closing tips, but tips.
No tips.
Yeah.
And your
The
wife
tips.
is thanking you for being present all the time.
It's I think a question of just being intentional, because the fact is, especially for us as men, we are always out there looking for money, and everything is about money. And you know, when there's no money, there's no peace. So but once you know that also the children need you, maybe it's holiday time, and I can bring out a week and say maybe this whole week I'll be early home, or I'll get leave and be available the whole week. We shall have breakfast together, we shall have lunch together, we shall have all the prayer times together. Yes, it's just
Intentional.
being intentional. Yes.
Wow, thank you. Fathers out there, be intentional, just intentionality. Thank you very much. Would you please share with us the things you have learned, relearned as parents in this area of communication? You as the Ejuku.
Um, me, as for me, there are many things I have learned, unlearned, and relearned. Like you mentioned, we have 4 children, and that is really not a small number. And interestingly, all these children are very different. So we've gone through those eras where when there were only one, when it was only one, when there were only 2, and they would be fighting, and you'd be criticizing this one against the other one, and but we learned that these children are different, and we need to also handle them differently. The way they also perceive things is very different. The way their attitudes are different. So now each child, we handle them as a specific subject on its own. Yes, we no longer say, well, why don't you be like so and so? So and so doesn't disturb us when she's at school. For you, you call every week, and that kind of stuff. No, we don't. When you call, we just get your call and find out what's the problem or what do you want. And if it's not there, we shall tell you, it's nothing, but you wait at the end of the month. Today is just the 10th. We shall see what to do. Yes, if there's something, I will say I'll send to teacher. Yeah. So I've learned to really understand my children. And also in the process of just giving time to children and just watching them, there's a lot you learn about them. Because interestingly, they also watch us and learn a lot about us. That's why many children are able to actually manipulate us. Yeah. Yesterday I was reading a story about a son, I think he's about 18, who was threatening to commit suicide. And he had joined a number of shots together, and and when a counselor was called in, he was saying, they don't, he seems to be also a last born. Yeah, they don't want me to drive. When I ask for things, they don't give me, which is very wrong. So he had learned how to put his parents in a corner that if he says he's going to commit suicide, they will give him whatever he wants. And I think they've been giving him. But this time around, when the counselor came in, I think it was a game changer. In fact, the counselor was encouraging him that if you want to commit suicide, it's okay. You do that, we shall get your dead body, take it to the mortuary, and we shall take you to Soroti for burial.
Wow. Hey.
And the guy was unable to do it. Then they realized he was actually, all this time was just actually threatening the parents, So the children also learn us. They just watch us and learn. And it's also about time we also just watch them and learn them. Because they are also very different. And their behaviors are different, But we need to understand who is shrewd, who is good, who is bad, who is mad. And also handle them in that way. Yes.
Exactly. And that's actually very true. I think that is something the Lord has actually taught me, that actually every children comes uniquely, differently. You have to parent them differently.
Yes.
Differently. So thank you, Francis. Thank you very much. Priscilla, what you have learned and relearned as a parent?
As a parent, I've really learned that we have to be the best examples. We have to be the best examples in how we communicate and in so many other things. We should communicate with love, even as spouses, as the children are watching us. I'll give you a bad example. One time we were at the dining and we were arguing about something, and I was really arguing because I actually at the end I won the argument. But my son was watching us while the dining. It was not like a fight, but it was just. But afterwards he was like, mommy, you can really be a lawyer.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I learned that these
Wow.
children really watch us.
Exactly.
They watch our
Silently.
non-verbal
Mm,
communication. I may not quarrel with him, but the way they see you moving in the house, they know mom is not happy with daddy. So we have really to be intentional and show our kids the best example. As he said, you know, when you teach these children effective communication, like we have daughters, they should be able to communicate with other people with love out there, even when they have left home. That will help them and they'll move with it in life.
Wow.
So I found that very important.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much. Oh my God, you've learned great things. Wow, here, oh my God, this is actually very important to lead by examples. Because this I hosted a couple here, and one of them stated that actually children are mature people in small bodies. They understand everything really well. So would you please give us your parting shots and we close this show?
My parting shot, I would only like to say that effective open communication is hard work, and we need to be intentional to do it. Parents need to understand that we are not perfect and we make mistakes, and children also know it, by the way, so we shouldn't really hide that for us we don't make mistakes, but we need to continue and see to it that the children need to understand that we want to communicate with them, and they will also be ready to communicate with us, and that will make life very easy.
Yes. Yes, Priscilla, your last remarks and we close the show.
Okay. I want to say that with God everything is possible. And I want to quote a scripture which says that we should always be slow to speak, but
And slow to anger.
and slow to anger, but should be good listeners.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you very much, Priscilla, and thank you, Francis. It's been a great pleasure to have you here. Wow, hope to have you once again. Wow, thank you. And of course, to you, our dear viewer, thank you. I am forever grateful. I am always grateful. Thank you for loving this show, and thank you for loving me, your favorite host. Thank you for loving Church of Uganda Family TV. If I had ways of kneeling right now, I would kneel here. I am so humbled and so grateful. You love us from all corners of the world. You love us so very much. We are so humbled. To see you, like we say in Greek. God bless you very much. Please run to the overnight, to the nights of glory in your church. Today is the last Friday. Oh, yes, I think the last Friday of the month. Yeah, God bless you, and it's a bye bye from me, your favorite host.